I'm Brooke, 31, and if you'd asked me a year ago, I'd have told you my life was the definition of picture perfect. Cute two-story house with a white fence, daughter named Sophie, who's already reading chapter books at 6, and Jason, my high school sweetheart turned husband. Our friends called us couple goals, Sunday morning pancakes, Target runs, matching Christmas pajamas, the works. Sure, things with Jason had gotten a little predictable. He'd fallen into routines, fantasy football leagues, grilling every weekend, falling asleep halfway through our Netflix shows. But that's marriage, right? Comfort over chaos. That's what I told myself. Then Ethan sent me a friend request. Ethan, my college boyfriend, the one who took me on midnight road trips, who used to leave handwritten notes in my textbooks, who once told me I was too bright to live an ordinary life. We broke up because he got a job offer across the country, and I wasn't ready to pack up everything. When I saw his name pop up, my heart did a little stupid skip. I accepted without thinking twice. We were adults now, mature, married. Well, at least I was. No harm in reconnecting. At first, it was harmless. Ethan would comment on photos of Sophie, liking pictures of Jason and me at the pumpkin patch. He even messaged Jason about joining his Sunday basketball league. It was almost weirdly wholesome. Jason pretended not to care, but I caught the way his mouth tightened when I mentioned Ethan in passing. I waved it off. Jealousy was so unattractive. Jason needed to grow up, but Ethan was exciting. He was now a creative director for some trendy marketing firm. He traveled constantly, Paris, Tokyo, Rio, while Jason still worked at the same insurance agency he joined at 23. I started dressing up a little more when I went to the grocery store, just in case. I'd find reasons to text Ethan, asking for restaurant recommendations, commenting on his travel photos. Totally innocent. Jason brought it up once after I accidentally bumped into Ethan at Starbucks. You don't think it's strange, Jason said, that he's everywhere you are all of a sudden? I rolled my eyes. You're paranoid. Jason let it drop, but I could feel the distance growing. Every time I laughed at a text from Ethan, every time I told another story that started with Ethan says, another crack formed. It all came to a head when Ethan posted about needing a +1 for a charity event. I commented without thinking, sounds like fun. Wish I could help. Jason saw it, of course. You realize how that looks? He asked quietly. Oh my God, I snapped. You're being ridiculous. It's just Facebook. But that night, Jason slept on the couch. In my mind, he was the one ruining things, not me. He was insecure, clingy, weak. Meanwhile, Ethan and I kept getting closer. Lunches turned into coffee dates, which turned into late-night texts. Wish you were here, he'd send from some luxury hotel suite. I'd respond with a winking emoji. Still harmless, I told myself. I'm married. I love Jason. This is just fun, until it wasn't. Jason finally confronted me one night after Sophie was asleep. Calm, too calm. I saw the texts, he said. My stomach dropped. You're spying on me now? I had to. You don't even try to hide it anymore. I crossed my arms, defensive. What, you want me to cut off all my friends just because you're insecure? He looked at me, really looked at me and said, Brooke, you don't want a husband, you want a fan club. I laughed in his face. Maybe if you were a little more ambitious, a little more exciting, I wouldn't have to find it somewhere else. I snapped. Jason just nodded, like he'd expected it. Like he knew. After that, things unraveled fast. Jason started working late, going to the gym more, spending weekends at the office. Meanwhile, Ethan kept popping up everywhere, inviting Jason to play basketball, offering him free tickets to games, buying rounds of beers at barbecues. Jason dodged every invite. Our neighborhood 4th of July party was the tipping point. Everyone was drinking, kids were running around with sparklers, and someone made a joke about running into an ex at Costco. That's why I love Ethan, I blurted. We're mature enough to stay friends. Right, Ethan? The backyard went silent. Jason just looked at me, beer in hand, and said, right, especially when you're still in love with them. Laughter died. Conversation stopped. Everyone stared. Excuse me? I said, my voice a little too high. Jason shrugged. It's obvious, Brooke. Something inside me snapped. Maybe it was the wine. Maybe it was months of pent-up frustration. But I let loose. You know what, Jason? Maybe if you had half the drive Ethan does, half the ambition, half the... Brooke, Ethan cut in sharply. Stop. But I didn't. I tore Jason apart in front of everyone. His job, his clothes, his boring life. I even made a crude comment about Ethan being bigger in every way. Neighbors were pulling their kids away. People were whispering. Jason just stood there, stone-faced. Finally, he set down his beer, took Sophie's hand, and walked away without a word. Ethan followed soon after, barely meeting my eye. I was left standing there, the queen of a kingdom I'd just burned to the ground. The next morning, Jason was gone. Sophie was gone. Only a note on the counter. You'll hear from my lawyer. I texted Ethan, desperate. Meet me? He replied hours later. We need to talk. We met at the diner we used to go to in college. I threw myself into the booth, hoping for some validation, some comfort. Instead, Ethan looked cold. Brooke, he said, we're not good for each other. We never were. What, after everything? You're married. You have a daughter. You need to fix your life, not blow it up for some fantasy. I love you, I whispered. He shook his head. No, you love the idea of what we were, and you just humiliated your husband to chase it. I can't be part of this. He dropped money on the table and left. Just like that. The divorce was brutal. Jason's lawyer used everything: the texts, the photos, witness statements from the barbecue. The judge gave Jason primary custody. I got weekends, supervised for the first 6 months. Turns out, public emotional meltdowns don't look good on custody evaluations. Jason sold our house and moved into a new development. Sophie loves it. Big backyard, community pool, a new stepmom named Lauren, who bakes cookies and volunteers at her school. Meanwhile, I'm in a tiny apartment that smells like old carpet. My friends mostly disappeared. Turns out, no one wants to be seen with the woman who humiliated her husband at a neighborhood party. Ethan eventually moved again, a new job in Chicago. He's dating a nurse now. I saw the photos on Instagram. They look happy, healthy. Sometimes late at night, I scroll through Jason and Lauren's photos. Sophie smiling, Jason with his arms around Lauren. They look natural together, better together. And me? I'm still trying to convince myself I didn't blow up my life for nothing. That Jason was boring, that Ethan led me on, that I'm the victim. But sometimes when I can't sleep and the apartment is too quiet, a tiny voice whispers the truth I don't want to hear. I wasn't the victim. I was the villain. And no amount of Facebook posts will ever change that.